Hello everyone, this is Mojib Mostafavi. As you can see, you can be in touch with me via different ways. Let's gain some better understanding of English, shall we? Today, we're going to talk about comparative adjectives, meaning and uses. So, in this presentation and video, we're going to see, before we start, what is an adjective, three types of an adjective, how to make comparative adjectives, main uses, some exceptions, examples, review, new words, expressions, and idioms, and notes, same as always. So let's start. Before we start, each PowerPoint presentation is of course made for a specific level of English learners. However, I try to teach and clarify different parts related to the main subject. So if you think the subject might be hard for you, do not ignore the video because I'm going to teach different parts related to the main subject and it would be easier for you. For example, in this presentation, I'm going to talk about adjectives and after that we're going to talk about types of an adjective and comparative adjectives. You may see some slides being repeated in different presentations. That is because of the relevant subjects. So, for example, in this presentation, we're going to see some slides repeated in my first movie, I think, adjectives ending in OUS. That is because the subjects are related to each other. We follow American English accents. You have understood so far? During the video, please take notes and write your own questions down. You can contact me and ask them later. At the end of the presentation, I will review the lesson and the meaning of new words, expressions, and idioms. So, if you don't understand the meaning of any word or expressions during the video, do not worry because I'm going to explain them at the end of the presentation. So let's go to our subject, which is adjectives, which is comparative adjectives. First of all, what is an adjective? Simply put means using simple words and simple definitions to say something. Simply put, an adjective is a word that describes and talks about a noun. So, an adjective talks about a noun. An adjective talks about a noun. For example, in the following sentences, the underlined words are adjectives. Your sister is tall. The word tall talks about the word your sister or describes the word your sister. So, tall is an adjective for your sister. Every sad person should see a funny movie. The word sad describes the word every person or person. Also, the word funny describes the word movie. So, the word sad is an adjective for the word person or every person, and the word funny is an adjective for the word movie. That's the definition of an adjective. Three types of an adjective. Each adjective has three forms. First one is simple adjective or positive adjective. This positive is not the opposite of negative. It has another meaning. Second one is comparative adjective and third one is superlative adjective. So, the positive form is the base form of an adjective, the simplest form of an adjective. It is used to describe one item, such as a person, a class, and a shirt. So, simple adjective talks about one item, like a person, a class, and a shirt. The comparative form describes a higher degree. It is used to compare one noun to another noun, such as two people, two classes, and two shirts. So when we are talking about two things and we want to compare them, we use comparative adjective, which is about to be taught in this presentation. And number 3, superlative adjective. The superlative form describes the highest degree. It is used to compare 3 or more nouns. So if we have 3 or more than 3 items, we use superlative adjectives to compare them. For example, 5 people, 10 classes, and 100 shirts. More than 3. They're also used to compare one thing to the rest of the group. Like what? We have a class, and one student is the best in this class. We are comparing the students in the class. The class is a group, and one student is the best student. We use superlative adjective. For example, here, the best is a superlative adjective. For example, Big Ben is a tall building. Big Ben is a tall building, which is in London. Comparative adjective, Eiffel Tower is taller than Big Ben. We are comparing Eiffel Tower to Big Ben. 2 items. So Eiffel Tower is taller than Big Ben. And number 3, the Burj Khalifa is the tallest building in the world. The Burj Khalifa is the tallest building in the world. Here we are comparing all the buildings in the world, more than 3. Or we can say the world is a group for us. And we're talking about the tallest building here, Burj Khalifa. So, next page. Okay, now we have learned what comparative adjectives are. Now we want to learn how we can make them, how to make comparative adjectives. First of all, we are going to learn how to make this kind of adjectives. First, we should categorize adjectives into 3 groups depending on the number of their syllables. Categorize means making groups, making categories. And syllable, you know the meaning of syllable. For example, the word smart has 1 syllable, smart. And the word interesting has 3 syllables, interesting. Then there will be a formula for each group, which are dependent on their syllables. We make a formula to make comparative adjectives. Obvious? Number 1, adjectives with 1 or 2 syllables. So our first category is adjectives with 1 or 2 syllables. Our third category is adjectives with 3 or more syllables. So 1 or 2 syllables in category 1, 3 or more syllables in category 3. And category 2 is adjectives with 1 or 2 syllables until here, like number 1, but ending in adjective makers, in suffixes which make adjectives, such as al, ous, less, and ed. Al like rival, ous like delicious, less like useless, ed like bored. Once again, adjectives with 1 or 2 syllables. Number 2, adjectives with 1 or 2 syllables ending in adjective makers, like al, ous, less, and ed. The end of the adjectives are these suffixes. And group 3, adjectives with 3 or more syllables. Okay, for group 1, adjective plus er. The formula for group 1 is this: adjective plus er, which is pronounced a very short sound of and r. For example, small, smaller, simple, simpler, and strong, stronger. Small has one syllable, smaller. Simple has two syllables, simpler. And strong has one syllable, strong. And it would be stronger. For category 3, we add the word more to the beginning of the adjective. If the adjective has 3 or more syllables, we add more, which is pronounced more. You can see the phonetics. More plus adjective. For example, more beautiful, more disastrous. More beautiful, more disastrous. How many syllables does beautiful have? Beautiful. 4 syllables. It is more than 3. Disastrous, disastrous. 3 syllables. It is 3. So we use more to make them comparable and comparative. And for group 2, adjectives ending in adjectives maker and they have 1 or 2 syllables, we again use the formula same as number 3. More plus adjective. Like more useful, more helpless, and more bored. How many syllables does useful have? 2 syllables. Useful. But we use more because it has an adjective maker, which is full. Helpless, again 2. We use more because we have less, which is an adjective maker. Bored, 1 syllable, but we use more because we have again an adjective maker, which is ed. Alright. If you have any question about this, you can write them down and ask me in the social media. Let's go to next page. Main uses. When and where can we use these forms of adjectives? Number 1, to compare two things, people, items, groups, etc. For example, biology is more attractive than history. Attractive means it attracts you. It's interesting in your idea. Biology is more attractive than history. We are comparing two school subjects. Next one, Sam is smart, but his sister is smarter. We are comparing two people, Sam and his sister. His sister is smarter than Sam. Number 2, to show changes. To show changes. For example, after the trip, I'm feeling happier now. I'm feeling happier now. Actually, he's saying I'm feeling happier than what I was before the trip. So again, even in number 2, we are comparing two things. We are comparing myself after the trip to myself before the trip. After the trip, I'm feeling happier now. Next one. The school lessons are getting harder and harder. Harder and harder. Changes. It's showing changes. Next one. The garden is becoming more and more stunning. Stunning means very beautiful, impressive, attractive. The garden is becoming more and more stunning. And number 3, which is so useful and technical, especially for the people who want to participate in international English language exams, such as IELTS and TOEFL, to show that one thing depends on another thing. To show that one thing depends on another thing. The more you study, the better grades you'll get. The more you study, the better grades you'll get. It means when you study more, you'll get better grades. Can we say this sentence instead of this one? Yeah, of course we can. But this one is more technical, is more professional. When you study more, you'll get better grades. We have a comparative adjective here. We have a comparative adjective here. We can use this. The more you study, the better grades you'll get. Next one. The more delicious the food is, the more expensive it is. The more delicious the food is, the more expensive it is. When the food is more delicious, it is more expensive. Again, we have two comparative adjectives in each part, and we are changing it to this form. The more delicious the food is, the more expensive it is. Okay, now try them at home, and you can write on a piece of paper and make other examples and sentences using comparative adjectives and using this form number 3 to show that one thing depends on another thing. So once again, to compare two things, people, items, group, etc., to show changes and to show that one thing depends on another thing. Okay, some exceptions. We talked about the formulas of how to make comparative adjectives, but not all the words obey that regulation, follow that rule. Like what? Like far. Far in the meaning a long distance away. Far having the meaning a long distance away would be farther. There is an extra H here according to the main formula, Farther. And here's the phonetics. Farther. Farther. For example, Canada is farther to Turkey than what Norway is. Norway is far from Turkey, but Canada is farther. Farther. Far has another meaning, which is a lot of something. A lot of something. That's another meaning of far. In this meaning, the comparative adjective would be further. 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 Fur, like word, like world. Further. Further means more. The meaning of further is more. For example, I have to stay home for further days. I have to stay home for further days. Means for more days. Number 3, good. Good will be better. Another exception. Good will be better. Better. For example, Sam should try to get better scores. Number 4 is the opposite of good. Bad. Opposite of good is bad. Bad would be worse. 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 The situation in Italy is worse than that of South Korea. For example, we're talking about coronavirus, and we say that the situation in Italy is worse than that of South Korea. Worse. Fun. Fun has one syllable, and it doesn't have any suffix, an adjective maker, but we use more to make it comparative. More fun. More fun. More fun. We guess playing video games might be more fun than soccer. We guess playing video games might be more fun than soccer. Many will be more. The comparative form of many is more. My books are more than yours. My books are more than your books. And number 7 is much. The comparative form of much is more, again, same as many. For example, my coffee is more than yours. My coffee is more than your coffee. But What is the difference between this more and this more? What is the difference between many and much? Many is used for countable nouns, whilst much is used for uncountable nouns. Many is used for countable nouns such as books, and much is used for uncountable nouns such as coffee. But the comparative forms are same. Next one. Examples. Here we have some examples of comparative adjectives. I like living in higher apartment buildings. I like living in higher apartment buildings. For example, living in the 7th floor instead of 3rd floor. My mother always makes yogurt with older milk. We drink the new and fresh milk, and my mother makes yogurt with older milk. This movie is getting more and more unpredictable. Means you can't guess what will happen. Unpredictable. Predictable means you are able to guess. It's easy to guess what will happen. But unpredictable means you can't guess. Sam is taller than Sue, but Sue is thinner. Sam is taller than Sue, but Sue is thinner. Two comparative adjectives. Sam is taller than Sue, but Sue is thinner than Sam, of course. Next, why do you insist on buying more expensive pants? Insist means doing something with all efforts and you try to do it and you try to convince others to do it. Why do you insist on buying more expensive pants? Maybe the cheaper pants are better. The opposite of expensive is cheap. And the comparative form of cheap is cheaper. Anne tries to become stronger to set a better record. For example, imagine Anne is a gymnast and she's trying hard to become stronger to set a better record in any part of gymnastics. Stronger, better. Two comparative adjectives. Most of us think the students of this school are cleverer than those of that one. Most of us think the students of this school are cleverer than the students of that school. Clever, two syllables, no suffixes, group 1 plus er, clever, clever, clever. Next, we are using the use 3 of comparative adjectives. The more crowded the restaurant becomes, the slower the service will be. Let's change it to the simple form. When the restaurant becomes more crowded, the service will be slower. But this form is more technical. The more crowded the restaurant becomes, the slower the service will be. I'm so delighted to see you're much happier than last time. We are showing changes, right? Delighted means very happy. He, sadly, got more depressed and more miserable after his wife's death. The wife of this man has gone and he got more depressed and more miserable. Depressed means very sad, and of course miserable again means very sad and very uncomfortable about something. Okay, let's review what we have done. Adjective, a word to describe a noun. Adjective is a word to describe a noun. 3 forms of an adjective: positive or simple, used for one noun or one item; comparative, used for 2 nouns or 2 items; and superlative, used for 3 or more nouns or items. Comparative adjectives used to compare two things. New words, expressions, and idioms. I'm going to read them. Please repeat after me and pay much attention to their meaning. Instructor, a teacher or a trainer. To be in touch with somebody, to remain in contact. For example, you say, during the pandemic, I'm still in touch with my friends. I call them or I video call them. Via, through a place using a person or something. For example, I got familiar with one of my friends via a mutual friend, a friend of mine and him, via. Number 4, to be about to do something, to do or happen soon, soon. For example, I'm about to upload this video on YouTube. Specific, particular. Specific means particular. However means but. However means but. Clarify, to make something clearer, to teach them completely. During, from the beginning to the end, from the start point until the end point. Simply put, giving the basic facts about a hard situation, using simple words and descriptions to say something a bit hard. Describe, to give details about something, talk about, define. Degree, the level or amount of something, Compare, to show how two things are similar or different. Compare to show how two things are similar or different. Categorize, to put people or things into groups. Depend, to be affected or decided by something else. Formula, a series for showing a rule. Use, pay attention to the pronunciation. It's use. Use is verb. Use is the verb form. Use is the noun. The action or fact of using something. The noun form of use is use. Become, to start to have a feeling, job, etc. I became a teacher 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Stunning, very attractive or beautiful. Delicious, very great to taste or smell. We say that this pizza is so delicious. Situation, a combination of all happening things. A mixture of all things which are happening now. Predictable, something that may happen, something that you guess or think will happen in the future. Miserable, very unhappy, and uncomfortable is called miserable. Okay, once again, repeat after me. Instructor, to be in touch with somebody. Via, to be about to do something. Specific, however. Clarify, during. Simply put. Describe. Degree. Compare. Categorize. Depend. Formula. Use. become, stunning, delicious, situation, predictable, miserable. Thank you. Notes. I will surely make the presentation related to superlative adjectives as soon as possible. Actually, the PowerPoint presentation has been made. I should just record the video. In case of having any questions, you can contact me. And you know the ways. We saw the ways in the beginning of our presentations, and we will see them at the end again. In case of wanting the video or the PDF file of the presentations, you can download it from my Telegram channel. So if you want the video or the PDF file, you can download it from my Telegram channel. And please share me your ideas about the video. I will surely use them, and your sharing would be appreciated. It was so nice spending some time with you guys. Hope the video has been helpful. You can follow me on Instagram, Telegram, and YouTube. Till the next time, goodbye, have fun, and follow the protocols.